There's a phrase from childhood: I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to you. It's just a playground joke, but it accidentally describes one of the most interesting things about AI. A lot of people treat AI like an oracle, a giant brain in a box that contains answers. The other camp says it's just autocomplete, a statistical parrot with a nice interface. I think both camps are missing the same thing. AI is a mirror. A weird one, though. A mirror that bends and reflects patterns instead of images. And it reflects in both directions. That's the part people miss. When you sit down and talk to an AI, you're setting up a feedback loop. You say something, it responds, you react to the response, it responds to your reaction, and around it goes. At first, it feels like you're the one teaching the machine. Spend enough time with these systems, though, and you'll notice the machine is teaching you too. That has nothing to do with it being conscious or holding secret knowledge. The interaction itself is steering both sides, or more precisely, it's steering the trajectory of the conversation. And the trajectory is the thing that matters. To see why, look at what these systems actually are. People talk about tokens all the time. Tokens are just fragments of language, statistically carved out of enormous piles of human text. But look at a diagram of a transformer and something jumps out at you. The tokens are mostly for us. They're the handles, the little symbolic hooks that let humans grab onto a system that fundamentally does not think in words. Inside the model, there are no words, no little dictionaries, no concepts sitting on shelves waiting to be fetched. There are weights, matrices, vectors, transformations, one unimaginably large mathematical object whose whole job is modeling relationships between patterns. The language layer exists because humans need symbols. The machine lives in gradients. And this is where it gets strange, because humans are compulsively symbolic thinkers. We name everything. We sort the world into categories and then build stories, identities, companies, nations, religions, and entire object-oriented models of reality on top of the sorting. This is a chair. This is a person. That belongs in this box. Our mind carves the world into objects all day long. Neural networks don't start there. They start with relationships, similarity, distance, association, probability. The latent space of a neural net is closer to a landscape than a filing cabinet. The machine isn't asking, what is this object? It's asking, what patterns live around this thing? The categories show up later. The gradients come first. So you get this mismatch. We communicate in symbols while the machine computes in gradients. And the symbols end up as a sparse, lossy translation layer between two completely different ways of representing the world, almost like poetry. The fascinating part is what happens when the two systems couple. The flow goes both ways. You twist, it turns. You weave some tangled web of logic, it fills in the missing pieces. It makes connections you didn't notice. You notice connections it didn't make. You push it somewhere unexpected, and it does the same to you. You're bending while it sways, or maybe it's swaying while you bend. And at some point, you genuinely can't tell which. People ask whether humans are training AI, and obviously, yes. Humanity produced the books, the arguments, the code, and the whole internet the thing was trained on. But flip the question around. Is AI training humans? Also, yes. There's no gradient descent involved, no backprop running in your skull. It happens through interaction, through repeated exposure to ideas and arguments and possibilities you wouldn't have generated alone. Every conversation leaves a trace, and the trace lands in you because the model forgets you the moment the session ends. That's why AI feels so different from older tools. A calculator doesn't change how you think when you're using it, and a hammer doesn't reshape your worldview. Even a search engine just hands you information and steps back. A language model participates. It becomes part of the cognitive process itself, another source of momentum inside your own thinking. What you get is a coupled process, a conversation that develops its own direction. And after enough exchanges, something strange happens. The idea stops belonging entirely to you, and it never belonged to the machine either. It emerged from the interaction itself. So when people ask whether AI is intelligent, I increasingly think that that's the wrong question. The better question is, what happens when human symbolic reasoning meets machine gradient reasoning? What emerges when two radically different systems for navigating reality start influencing each other, one speaking in symbols and the other speaking in geometry? Maybe we've built the most sophisticated mirror humanity has ever made. Or maybe the mirror is turning us into a dance partner. Either way, the reflection goes both ways. Using is the wrong word for what's happening on either side of that screen. You're entraining each other. And that might turn out to be the defining experience of the AI age.